I was talking about 1944. The Second World War was already in progress. My father had been sent by Nelson Rockefeller, his money, and the U.S. State Department to South America with a woodwind quintet playing 46 concerts there and going to many, many South American countries like Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and finally Chile, and where he was given a job teaching at the National University and was given the title of Professoro Extraordinario. He played flute recitals. He taught the young composers, had a big influence on them because he's such a terrific teacher and a kind of a figure. I mean, this blonde American who spoke perfect Spanish and perfect German and knew how to conduct all the major repertoire from memory. So he was given the job, offered further jobs conducting the Philharmonica of Santiago de Chile. So we went down in 45 as a family. My sister was called 80, my mother, me, 80, and my father. It took 5 days to get there from Panama. We went briefly to New Orleans on the train down from Chicago. We were coming from Chicago. We'd been staying at my grandmother, Mabel, Virginia, Redmond, Landreth, at my grandparents' house at 2703 Sheridan Road in Evanston, Illinois. So we took the train to New Orleans and then got ourselves to Panama. From Panama, it took almost 6 days to get to Santiago, Chile, by plane. These are prop planes, not jets. So this is during the war in Panama. During the wartime, Panama was an important base. It was an important shipping crossroads. All the stuff that came to America had to come through the Panama Canal and then be loaded onto train cars, boxcars, and which rolled up north up through Louisiana, north, finally through Missouri, over the Mississippi River, up and up all the way to Chicago. And after coming back from Chile, we returned to Kansas City, where we'd been living. The first city we lived in Missouri was Kansas City, Kansas. I was there a year, and it was just about this time we got back from our South American tour for the State Department and U.S. State Department. And at that time, it was just about Christmas time when we were in Kansas City back at 444 44th Street in Kansas City, Missouri. My father had been assistant conductor of the Kansas City Philharmonic and the head of the theory department at the Kansas City Conservatory of Music, which was a Polish musician by the name of Victor Labunski. His wife, Wanda, made the best chocolate torta made of, the bulk of it was made of of a flour made of hazelnuts ground up, and the best frosting, deep chocolate, dark chocolate frosting, and buttercream in between. We bought this for $40 from Vonda Lebunsky every year, and later she would send that cake, that torta, to Knoxville, Tennessee, where we'd often have ordered oysters and clams from New York, and we'd have champagne on Christmas, and camas pears from Oregon would arrive, and fruitcake, and trolleys from New Orleans, made with pecans and molasses. Anyway, the delicacies, and of course we'd have wild ducks, which my father and I had shot in Arkansas. Wild duck for Christmas. And that Christmas in Kansas City, Kansas, my grandparents arrived from Chicago. They were on their way to Phoenix, Arizona, where they spent their winter vacations. My grandfather was a moderate drinker of any alcoholic beverages, but my father had sent all this cases of wine from Chile before we came up. Santa Carolina, which was a red wine, Undulaga, which was a white wine, and my grandfather got his first introduction to wine because you couldn't buy French wine at that time in America. It was not imported. Later we could get it in Knoxville, Tennessee. You might get some Chianti in New York at a restaurant, or buy one of those straw-covered bottles. At any rate, after the Christmas celebrations were coming to an end, my grandfather went to a cardiac specialist in Kansas City and was given a clean bill of health. But on the trip going over the mountains to Phoenix, Arizona, on the Santa Fe, which is one of the railroads he sold a lot of his product to, he had a heart attack. It was a coronary thrombosis, which means that one of the coronary vein burst, like an aneurysm. And there was a cardiac deficiency in the Landreth brothers. I think his brother Ernest, older brother Ernest, had died at 62. My grandfather was only 62 at the time. George Landreth's father, Harry Landreth, died of diverticulitis, which I have had. These are vascular problems, basically. And I've had, as I speak, I'm now speaking as a victim of 9 strokes, having recovered. It's a wonder I can even, I didn't have aphasia that I can even think, less speak, much less speak. I have only the use of my right hand, so it's one hand clapping. I can put my socks on with one hand. I can draw, can eat properly with my right hand. I can do a lot of things. I can basically wash myself, shave, take a shower, wash my hair. But getting dressed is getting harder and harder. I need the help of somebody. Often my wife Pat helps, and often my son Nicholas, without whom I would be lost. He's made life possible for me. And so I think that's it. I hope it's not blocked again by this YouTube, isn't it?